Welcome, wonderful listeners, to another episode of Breaking Taboos, Stories of Resilience, the show where we celebrate the incredible stories with our community.
And hi, everyone. I'm one of your co hosts, Angie, and today we're here with Hannah. Um, and today's episode, we're going to be with our partners, Tina, Valentina, and Andrew. And they work with Native C.O.R.E. Not only do they do work within the Native community here in Stockton, they also support anyone in Stockton who needs the resources. Um, and they help a lot with the road to recovery from opioid use. So to get us started, do you guys want to tell us a bit about yourselves and about Native Core?
Um, so my name is Tina Tapia. I am at Native C.O.R.E about almost 2 years. I am a project coordinator. A little bit about Native C.O.R.E. We are a resource and education and outreach organization. Right now, we are currently working on different grants. Right now on CYPP, sorry, CYPP. And I am Native American from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm from the Gila River tribe, Pipash, Maricopa.
Hi, my name is Valentina Vasquez. I am Native American and Mexican. My tribe is from Gila River, Phoenix, Arizona, Peeposh. I've been working for Native C.O.R.E for about 10 months as currently as a program coordinator. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andrew Terrace. I am the Outreach and Education Coordinator for Native C.O.R.E. I am Native American, Filipino, Mexican, and white. A little information about what I do at Native C.O.R.E. I'm in charge of the Narcan classes and harm reduction classes as well.
Yeah, so do you want to tell us a bit about Native Core, like the history of Native Core, at least here in Stockton?
Mhm. So we are a sister company of Native Directions, which is a 90-day treatment facility for men. We branched off into Native C.O.R.E, which we are focusing on resource and education and outreaching. Mhm.
Yeah, a little history. We service the San Joaquin County, Stanislaus County, and Tuolumne County. But we help outside of our counties as well. We've helped as far as Sacramento to Tuolumne. We have people reach out from Southern California for our help as well, and we've helped people get into treatment.
And then you tell us a bit about the work or like your positions, but can you tell us about like the work that you guys do and like how you got into this work?
Well, for me, we have family members who struggle with addiction. I heard of Native Directions when we were younger. My brother, he went into treatment with Native Directions. Sadly, we recently lost him about 6 years ago. So that's where my, desire to help other families who are out there struggling so that they don't have to live the life of losing a loved one. A little bit about what I have achieved while being with Native C.O.R.E. We have did 3 town halls to bring awareness and prevention on the opioid crisis. We also did anti-stigma campaigns. So we did Save the Person, Break the Stigma. So we have that all over through Stanislaus, Tuolumne, and the San Joaquin area. So those are some of the things that we did. We also used to, or still do, work with our youth. We do prevention and awareness along with cultural classes, teaching, trying to bring back in our uh, cultural classes such as like beading, basket weavings, things like that. Try to get the community and the youth to stay out of trouble and just try to bring them back into our original. What is it? I'm looking.
Uplifting the next generation.
Right.
Right.
Hmm.
So, so what I do, when I first started, I became a culture coordinator and a program coordinator, and I'm in charge of the Women's Talking Circle. We plan for events such as the powwows, um, and I'm currently a program coordinator. I still do the Women's Talking Circle. That's every Wednesdays from 4 to 6, except for the third Wednesday of the month. Um, let's see, before I came to Native C.O.R.E, I've been here for about 10 months. I worked at a local hospital for 24 years, and my sister here actually asked if I wanted to come help her, and yeah, asked if I wanted to come help and, make it bigger. And so I prayed on it, asked Creator to give me a live hummingbird. And one day I was going to work and there was a live hummingbird in front of me dancing. I was like, this is my sign. And so I called the supervisor or our director and I said, would you take me? She said, yes. So I've been here ever since and I love it. Yeah. And we actually have a sister that is recovering, that came out of recovery. She's been sober for about 8 months. So
Yeah, with Native Core,
yeah.
one of our other directors, she got our sister into the Friendship House in San Francisco. So ever since then, she's, been clean. She's been sober. Recently, actually today, she'll start her job. She got a job, yeah. So, yeah, I know. We were really proud of her. Hmm.
I'm Andrew. Again, I'm the Outreach and Education Coordinator for Native C.O.R.E. I've been with the company for about a little over a year and a half now. Um, my biggest thing that I do for the company is doing Narcan education. Since we started doing trainings, or I've started the trainings of last year, we've done 37 trainings. We've trained over 608 people. We've had 54 reversals. We've handed out 1,216 Narcan units and over 3,000 fentanyl test strips to the community, explaining how to use them, why naloxone is important for the opioid reversal. And it's just been really amazing. Before I started working here, I was in sales. My whole career, I thought I was going to do sales for the rest of my life. And since working here and working with the community and hearing testimonials, seeing just firsthand how the community needs this, it's changed my whole trajectory for what I thought a career I was going to have. Currently enrolled in the substance abuse counselor program at UOP, and hopefully by this time next year I'll be a substance abuse counselor as well. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and ask the next question. So, how has the opioid epidemic affected the Native community in San Joaquin County specifically?
Well, just, I mean, like we said earlier, with our family members, that's affected us a lot. And I think everybody in our at Native C.O.R.E has someone that has been through that same situation. So, yeah, we're just trying to be here to help and try to decrease the overdoses and help people get into recovery and yeah.
And as a follow-up, how does identity impact the work that you're doing, like your cultural identity? How does that shape how you are doing the work in Native Core?
Well, especially for working in the Native community, it's very cultural based. Every morning before we start work, we smudge down, we pray, and that really just seeps into everything we do, especially with our cultural classes on Wednesdays. We always start off with something. We do beading. We kind of give the history about that, and then an amazing cultural coordinator in our office who provides lessons too. So it really does shape everything that we do because it's kind of the guidelines of how it was done before, and how we're able to do it now and still uplift all that.
Yeah, and last week too, I took my women that are part of my women's talking circle to McCallum River and we cleansed. We all went out there and cleansed in the water. So, I mean, yeah, traditional practices and yeah, that helps a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I would say all those things, but also working with our coworkers because I know before a few of us struggled with identity. I think, not figuring out who we were as our culture, but well, growing up, we kind of got teased a little bit in school and stuff. So we didn't really identify so much with Native. But as working with the Native community and being around all these other strong individuals helped us learn who we are and, figure things out. And now we kind of follow our tradition and try to, learn every day, things that we can do to better and love ourselves, I guess,
Right.
you know.
Mhm. And we're proud to be Native.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Definitely.
before I was Mexican.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I never identified me. Nobody knew. Even my work at at one of the hospitals didn't know I was Native American until my brother passed away 6 years ago.
Yeah, that's
They're
when
like,
everything made
wow,
a
yeah.
change. My brother was a proud Native American, so my grandmother was too. And even though I seen that they were proud of who they were, I think I don't know, I kind of got lost in being, I guess you would say bully, with who we are and saying that, natives didn't exist. And, they would read it in the history books and they're like, there's no natives around. And I'm like, I better not say anything. I was just so little, and I didn't really even remember having Native friends around or knew anybody that was identify as Native. But I think there was a lot of trauma behind that, and I think like now I found who I am, and I'm proud to be where I'm at, and that helps me with all the strong because we work with a lot of women. I think that seeing other individuals be proud of who they are encouraged me to continue my journey now. Hmm.
I would like to add on that. Yeah, again, growing up, we didn't say that we were Native. My mom always said that we were Native. I was always either Mexican or Filipino, even white. But recently, just working here has changed all that. My kids had their coming out at our powwow. They dance now. And so it was just made me cry that day, just seeing them dance in the arena and being welcomed by the community. That's really awesome.
Yeah, especially when we go to powwows. Me and my sister, we get teary-eyed. I think it's because it's healing. A lot of the times that we kind of ignored it and put it in the back of our head. Now, like when I hear the drummers or the singers, like it just, I don't know, it does something to my soul. It just makes me very emotional. But I think that's a lot of healing. And my sister, even when she came from the Friendship House, she did teach me that whenever because we would hear music and I would get teary-eyed, and she was like, sister, just let it out because that's healing. That's a process that you have to go overcome. And so even her being there, she learned a lot about our culture, and she's proud to teach us. And it sounds funny because she's teaching us something that we're working with the community, but we all learn from each other. That's what makes it really good about working with the community that we're at right now. Hmm. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah, there's just something so healing about community.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of work, but you know what? It's very rewarding. And I know I used to hear a lot of people say that, but before. But honest, this is like I struggled with different jobs and trying to find happiness, but this is like basically where it's at. At times we have our difficult times, but I don't think I ever call out unless I really have to call out. And my coworkers used to make fun of me when I first started here. I was part-time and I used to come in like if I was a full-time employee just to hang out. Just to hang out, and they're very welcoming, and like I said, it helped me identify of who I was. Yeah. So
And a really cool thing about our area too is it's a melting pot of different tribes. It's not just one tribe or another. It's a bunch of different. You have their tribe from Arizona. I'm from Southern California, Shumash. You just get kind of a glimpse of everything, and that's the really cool thing and uniqueness about our community, especially the people that come to our classes and all that. It's all different, tribes.
And as you all are talking, I'm like thinking about like through this process,
mhm.
not only are you healing the community, but you're also healing yourself
Yeah,
at the
that's
same time.
true.
And it's like our mental health program, Healing Fuso, our saying is heal self,
Mhm.
heal others. Like as we're doing this spirit-led work,
Yeah,
as we're
Because you
doing
can't heal
this work for
others unless you heal
ancestors.
yourself.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Well, that's funny too, because recently we went to San Diego, and it's a Will Variety. We went there for training to be facilitators. So at the moment we were all in a circle. We were all living, everybody. There was like, I don't know how many people, about 20, yeah, 25 plus. So there was a lot of us, and we were all healing. There were different age groups, and I think that's probably like where I realized that I healed the most. I feel like I'm almost 100% healed. I think that's where I let all my cries, my fears, everything that I have ever dealt with, I left it in that circle, and we cleansed. And just seeing different age groups that still had trauma and stuff, whether they're older or younger, like just to come together and heal. Like right now, it kind of gives me chills, but just that was like my big healing journey was then in San Diego, and I think that I overcame a lot, even though I'm still growing. I think that was my biggest, healing process. It was then, yeah, I let everything out there. Mhm.
Yeah, and I know with healing, like sometimes it could sound so like
Mhm.
liberating and so like positive, but also like healing is confronting a lot of deeply
Yeah.
rooted traumas
Right.
and the
Yeah.
traumas of like colonization and genocide and imperialism and all of these like systemic oppression, right?
Mhm.
It's a lot of pain, right,
Yeah.
that we're holding. It's like pain of generations before us,
Mhm.
generations ahead of us, right?
Right.
So
Mhm.
what I can only imagine, like, doing this work, sometimes it
Mhm.
could be challenging on your spirit too,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
And so, like, what are some of those challenges that you encounter in the work that you're doing? Because it can be heavy,
Mhm.
right? So, what are some of those that you encounter, and how do you overcome them?
Mhm. I would probably say my biggest challenge was working with um, the rehab, the prevention, and because losing my brother really took a toll on us. I just think every day, the first I think people or the community that came to us, or when I go to Narcan training with Andrew, there's a little glimpse of an overdose. And I sat in there, and I was just trying to be supportive and be there to help Andrew. And I one day I told Andrew, I was like, I hear this like every training we go to, and I was like, yeah. So that's still a little triggering for me, is seeing that part in the video. But I just keep thinking the way to overcome it is because somebody else ain't gonna lose a loved one, whether it be a mother, brother, sister, father. That's my joy in knowing that we're helping somebody else so that they're not in my shoes. And I know we lose everybody, somebody at some point in life, but an overdose is not the way to go. Mhm.
Well, with
So,
our work, we've saved 54 people
yeah, and that's
so
what makes
far.
it, yeah, that makes it really,
Fulfilling.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, just knowing that we're saving somebody else. You guys don't have anything there?
Some of the challenges when I first started working here was just the stigma towards people who use. It was very hard to convince different organizations like, hey, this training is needed. We work with the community, and it was just more of like, oh, we don't want to have that training. We don't want to have that discussion yet. And just being able to overcome that challenge and have all these different organizations, your guys's, we've trained you guys here. It's just starting to see that change. It's starting to get more momentum in our county and surrounding counties that we're finally the community's seeing that there is an issue.
Yeah, and I like that part too, because I think a lot of times a lot of people think, and that kind of goes into my history with my family. A lot of people think that they're druggies or they're on the street, but my mom and dad are still in our lives. We used to have our sisters, we're still a family, and it happens to anybody. You don't have to be on the street. It could happen to the richest, to the happiest, to the poorest. It doesn't choose. It could be anybody. And I think that like the stigma that he was talking about, I think like I see there's a big change in people prejudging it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What would you say like contributed to that change in like stigma and people wanting to like get help? Yeah.
I would say just like we partnered up with the Stanislaus coalitions, the opioid coalitions, and seeing what they do in their community. It's starting to get, you start seeing more billboards, especially downtown. You start seeing billboards. People are bringing the message up forward now. I think it's just the understanding that we all need to come together to help fix this, because one organization doing it, two organizations, it's not going to really make any treadway until you have the community behind it. And that's where I think the community's finally had enough, and we've now started working together, wanting more.
Yeah, just like with our town halls, we work with the coalition. We work with Stanislaus Coalition, San Joaquin, the Tuolumne, and we try to reach out to like One Pill Can Kill, Lily Pad. So those are families that come together to bring their stories. And there's young kids. There's fentanyl poisoning. The poisoning is like the big one. There's like kids that are being affected by it, and then there's families who are I would say in some people's eyes are perfect families, a perfect life, and it happened to them, and I think like bringing them into our town halls shows that it could just be anybody, and if we work together as a community, we can make a big change, but it has to be everybody, not just one, because it's difficult trying to just get out there and spread the word. Hmm.
And I know stigma, like breaking the stigma, can be like a way to help people want to seek recovery. So how do you approach that, like getting people to recover?
Just with a conversation. You know, I think that's one thing that we have as an organization that is really unique is that we're community based. A lot of people that we talk to become our friends, become part of, somewhat of our family there. Wanting to see them do better, do amazing is just that conversation piece,
Hmm.
getting them
And
to.
yeah, sorry. I think it would be like more of an invite, an open door than rather telling them that they need to do this, giving them that option, making them feel as though they're still a person, because a lot of people prejudge or, they have this, stigma with them. I think that's just basically, making them feel welcome and,
Like meeting them where they're at.
right, yeah, and letting them feel heard. Yeah.
And
Hmm.
give them the power to like make the choice.
Choice
when
their
they're
self.
ready.
Yes, yes. That's what we always tell them when you're ready, we're here.
Yeah.
Just giving hope.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, with my talking circle, I have a few women that are in recovery, and I tell them if you ever need anything, let me know, and I can get you a resource. And I mean, if you wanna, yeah, if you need any help,
Let them
yeah,
know that we're always there to
yeah.
help. And a lot of our communities, they come to us for a lot of things. So I know that no doubt in our mind that, we have this tight community that if somebody felt something, they would say something to us. Hmm.
Yeah. What would you say in your experience, like in through like these Narcan trainings and these circles,
Hmm.
like what have they shared that's a biggest barrier for them to like want to like take the steps to like get treatment? Are there any like big like barriers that they mention?
Yeah. Well, mine, I have a particular person in my talking circle, her children. I
Hmm.
think she has 7 children. But yeah, a lot, well, most of my women have children, but yeah, I think children is the number one in my
Hmm.
talking circle. Um, and just the support from their family
Hmm.
too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can you say the question one more time just so my brain can wrap around it?
Like, what were some of the things like in talking to people? Like, how come, like, say that you all, mentioned there's these, like, you want to invite them to a circle or you want to invite them to get treatment, right? Whether it's through medicated assisted treatment, right?
Hmm.
Like, what are some things that they say, oh no, maybe not at this time. Like, I don't feel like I'm ready for that. Like, what are some reasons why they would not want to get help or like join a circle?
Hmm.
And then a follow-up question. Sorry, that's like 2 questions, but like a follow-up question, like what have you seen like really, really motivated them to want to like join a circle or want to like talk to you, to like get support?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I think would be sorry, and then I just referring a little bit back to my sister because we didn't work with our sister. Like we did, we supported our sister, but one of our coworkers, who is our human source resource right now, but she was a project coordinator, and she was the one that got my sister into the program. And some of the things that my sister said, because she's done this before, where she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go," but doesn't go. And then one day she sits down with my our human resource, yeah, HR. So she sits down with our HR. At the time she was a project coordinator. She sat down with her, and my sister said that she felt heard, even though we're her sisters, we supported her. It's different, I think she felt like her voice was heard. I think she felt comfortable, and she felt like she was a part of the community. She didn't feel judged. She felt that she can basically trust her. And so I think the biggest thing, and I know it probably is like something that we say a couple times, but is feeling heard, validated. Her feelings, what she's going through. Because like I said, we've done it before, and I took her to Sacramento to go get treatment. She backed out, and we kept constantly talking to her, but she just wanted to be heard, and I guess we weren't listening.
I think just coming from someone that you don't know,
Yeah,
compared to family, you know what I mean? Yeah.
that's where she made her decision.
Yeah.
And she comes in still, and she tells our coworker, "You saved my life."
Yeah, she
So
comes to my talking
yeah,
circle. Yeah.
she tells her every day she sees her, she gives her a big hug, and she's like, "You saved my life." It's just the little things. Just be hearing them out. So that I would say that was one. I don't know if you have something to say, Andrew.
No, I was gonna say CC.
Yeah.
Your sister is amazing. No, I just remember when we did the Celebrate Culture, and she was part of my Narcan training, and she was just going on like talking about it, and giving great detail and providing insight to it. And just I remember that this felt like that was the tipping point, and it's amazing, and she comes to our cultural class every Wednesday, and I'm part of that, and it's just seeing her progression in life is just it's really inspiring. It's awesome, She's saying that she had a job interview. I was like, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get the job.
She's at work today.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and then one of our town halls, the one in Stanislaus, one of the guys or our partners from C.O.R.E invited her to Sacramento where we had a conference. Yeah, to have her come on and talk, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Even at our town hall in Tuolumne, we got front page on the newspaper. But also he took a picture of my sister, and he spoke with her briefly. But yeah, she's made a really big change, and she's very smart, and she's very bright, and like I said, it can happen to anybody, and I think what really, really, truly, honestly works is communication, letting them voice their thoughts, their trauma, whatever they want to speak about. I think it's just having that open ear and letting them, vent out whatever they're struggling with. Hmm.
And like, what type of like treatments have you seen that are the most effective?
I think traditional practices with the sweat lodge, the smudging, prayer, ceremonies, what else?
Yeah, because at the Native Direction, it's a 90-day treatment, and they graduate, and I think it's like the teachings, and then they do cultural teachings also. They do a lot of stuff, and like she said, the sweat, it's a little bit of everything, that they go through.
Yeah, I actually been a part of a sweat lodge before with Three Rivers.
Yeah, that's where that's our
When
sister.
I used to work at another nonprofit and was able to go. So I'm wondering if you can share a little bit for people who may not know, like what happens in a sweat lodge, like what typically. Yeah, I know it's a lot. I know my experience. I know also that people all have different experiences when they go in there too. So
We looked at
yeah.
Andrew because they've been trying to invite us,
Uh-huh.
and we haven't had the time. But Andrew's been
Super
there.
busy.
yeah.
Andrew's
No,
he's been sweating for a long time. Go
yeah, I've
ahead.
been sweating for a little. I used to sweat when I was younger. It's just a cultural thing. With my family and the person that actually runs help at the lodge there. But recently, it's just refinding it, rediscovering. Going there. My family, we've been working through a lot of stuff. We've been affected by a great loss, and going to sweat with my wife, my mother, and putting it in the rocks, just it's spiritual. You feel presence when you're in there. You're in a sweat lodge, you're inside an enclosed space, and you feel it. You have your other community members who know the songs, sing, they put the medicines on the rocks, and it just you're totally transported to a different place, and you feel the spiritual presence there, and it's been helping us work through a lot of things. But again, it's different for everyone, you know, and that's what I really can say about that.
And it's a huge like release, right?
Mhm.
Like yeah, a lot that you've been carrying, right?
Yeah.
And it's not even like the stuff that you're carrying, but again, like what your ancestors are
Mhm.
carrying, right?
Yeah.
What previous generations are
Mhm.
carrying, right?
To bring up earlier when you talked about that, when we went to our training in San Diego for white bison, they call it blood memory. You know, people are predisposed to addictions, alcohol, all of that because part of our genetics from our ancestors are being continuously brought down to us, and sometimes people don't understand why they're predisposed. Like, I don't know why I can't put this down, or why I'm always so angry. It's because generations and generations of trauma has been placed and passed down, and it's up to us to break that cycle.
Right.
And it's still in the bloodline,
Mhm.
yeah. And I think that too, that's a main, not just because what I went through in my trauma, but also I have kids of my own that they have the same bloodline. So, prevention is like my number one key because it could be, like I said, anybody. And my worst case fear is, my children. I don't want that to happen to her, 'cause she's at the age now where she's 22, so they're out there living the life. So, yeah, and she knows the struggle that we went through, with our family, and I just try to educate her, and she was a part of Native Core, but right now she's focusing on school. Hopefully, one day she'll come back. But yeah, I think that's part of the reasons why I'm here, also.
I just want to know, like, just for people like who, like, what is the difference? What would you say makes Native Core different compared to, like, say somebody going to, I don't want to make any names, like going to a traditional clinic to get like medicine? Because sometimes, the medical model is so like transactional, like, okay, go get your treatment and then get out and then that's it, right? But it's like when you all are talking, I'm just imagining like how it really feels like to be in these circles, to be in these sweat lodges, to meet someone like you, right? That looks like them, right? So like what makes you all like unique and different? Like how do you truly connect to people?
I would say the culture.
And I think that's where their success comes from, is a lot of times, and Ramona, our director, will say this, a lot of the boys that go don't know their culture. They just know they're native, and when they're there, they rediscover it. They do presentations before they graduate on who they are, where they're from. It's really bringing that cultural aspect, that missing piece to some people, that helps them in the recovery process. And I really think that's different compared to traditional medical practices.
I would say also, that's a good one. I would also say that their open arms. I think, Native Americans are very open. They're very like close. Yeah, and it's pretty similar to Filipinos. My daughter's Filipino, so I've been around Filipinos. They're very welcoming. I think they're very welcoming, very friendly, and I think like when you have a community that is very open and honest and just welcoming, you're going to get a good feedback. You're going to get a lot of communities that come out to you because they have trust in you. You establish that open door policy, you establish the trust, the cultural, and just being forgiving and not prejudging them. I think that brings a lot of communities together.
The lodge has alumni that come back, and talk about their progress leaving the lodge. It's a lot of community.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am curious because you guys mentioned this a little bit at the beginning, but you guys mentioned how um, like it was your family members that helped you get into this work. So like how has like working within like substance recovery changed your perspective on addiction and recovery?
Growing up having family members that, again, if you've taken my Narcan training, I talk about it. My mom was on drugs in my life. Other family members were on drugs, still family members on drugs. Working in here at Native Core, I can throw back to shout out my mom. She's actually the reason why, I actually applied. She had a friend who worked here and said, "Hey, they're hiring.
Referring everybody.
They're hiring. You should definitely apply." So shout out my mom and
Anybody need a
Tina.
job?
But just seeing, my whole life, people going through the process, and then actually seeing the process here at Native Directions, working with a lodge, really inspired me to change. Like I said earlier, I didn't know I was going to be in this field. I thought I was going to be in sales, and taking the substance abuse classes that we're taking, it's just really seeing how intricate and how Tina's saying, it's community. That's hands down how a lot of success happens, is for the clients to feel heard, to feel welcomed. And that's really changed my eyes. And from what I thought about growing up, having such a hard view on it, having my life kind of feel like being picked apart by people who use substance, and that's my only view set on it, was negative. But now seeing positive, seeing Cece's success story has really changed my heart and really opened a lot of things for me in a different view, and it's really awesome. That's what I had to say about that.
I mean, just like I said before, I worked at a local hospital and she recruited me. But yeah, I mean, I don't regret it at all. I'm here for my sister and anybody else who needs help. But yeah.
Yeah, I think like I said, I think I kind of already went into it a little bit, but I think it's like family, helping me wanting to change, and then just seeing a lot of young people who are out there struggling. I want to make a difference as much as I can. There was so much negative of us growing up, people using drugs around us, and I used to, it's kind of funny. I don't know if I would say the whole beginning of it, but I used to, I used to always say, like, I want to be another, what I call it, like, I want to be another race. And I'm like, nothing ever happens to them, and they got a lot going on. And I look at it now, it's like, it really opened my eyes. Some people are more private than others. And, um, it just really just put me out there and just basically made me find who I was, and, with the help of, being here, learning my culture and things, that's just like an extra. But yeah, I would say, my family really helped me seeing the struggle that we already been through with our childhood and what we've been through. So, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to share that we didn't get to cover already?
Oh,
We could do the Justin question.
we are doing a backpack drive July 25th at Native C.O.R.E. From 10 to 3. And we are moving to a new facility August 1st. I know, a bigger facility. Yeah, off of March
Yeah.
Lane by Red
Yeah.
Lobster. In that area. Yeah.
Then you
So-
go to Native C.O.R.E.
No, go to Native C.O.R.E, pick us up, and there we go.
Yeah, so we are moving August 1st. Yeah, so hopefully it's a bigger place. We got a large conference, so more people to invite for our talking circle and our art classes. Yeah, so we're excited about that. We're packing right now, and yeah, we're getting ready.
Definitely following the advice of Big Things 2024.
Right? This guy, Big Things 2024. Yeah. So we're moving to a big facility. But yeah.
What did you say the backpack drive was?
July 25th from 10 to 3 at Native C.O.R.E.
Okay,
Mhm.
so this
I think it'll
Thursday.
be
I don't know if this will be.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe in August.
Okay, probably
Yeah,
not.
something in August.
But
Well, we have something coming up in November, right? The cultural
Celebrate culture.
Celebrate culture.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
So,
so our going to be our third year.
yes, our
Third
third
year.
annual. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be hopefully Civic or
Yeah, hopefully we'll
Fairgrounds?
continue having the same location, the Stockton Civic Center, just a little bit that way.
Yeah.
But it's open to the public that way. It's open to the public, and we
Yeah.
have a bunch of different organizations that come out. We have
Mhm.
dancers, drummers, artwork,
Vendors.
vendors,
Mhm.
and we
A
have
lot of good stuff.
a lot of good stuff, and we'd hope to see everyone out there.
Right.
How do people get involved in your women's circle?
Just come Wednesdays from 4 to 6, except for the third Wednesday of the month because that's Red Road. But yeah, and you don't have to be Native. You're more than welcome to come. It's only women. Yeah.
And then also, we still have our cultural classes on Wednesday. You want to show
Yeah.
them your beading?
So I worked on this medallion
Oh, wow.
at our
Oh,
cultural
nice.
class, so I was able to beat this medallion with the guidance and help of Tina right there. Our master beater.
She's a master beater.
Yeah. So if y'all need a job, y'all need to know some earrings,
I'm the jack of all
beading, definitely hit up Tina.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
as for right now, we're on hold for all the classes because we're moving.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's the third or last week of August we're gonna start back up.
Mhm.
But yeah.
So we'll have
Mhm.
cultural classes every
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And cultural classes are from 1:30 to 3:30 on
Yes.
Wednesdays.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then after you can come to my talking circle.
Yeah, we
Oh,
will
yeah.
be a post on Instagram too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
I know, right?
my God. Yeah.
And you guys always post it on your Instagram.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
Instagram,
yeah,
Facebook.
if you guys want to follow their Instagram, guys.
And
Yeah.
give us-
They post everything.
Yes.
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 Everything
we
that we-
provide the material, everything. You don't buy anything. We provide everything.
Yeah.
And I know coming up, we're gonna be doing for the holidays. It's Christmas ornaments.
Yep, we'll be doing that, I believe,
so
in November.
we'll be beating around Christmas ornaments. So if you guys want to come out and join us after our move,
Mhm.
yeah, we'll have plenty of space.
Plenty of space.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Final question. What is your definition of justice?
So when I think of justice, I think of closure. I think of acceptance. Yeah.
The first thing that I thought was equality. That's the first thing that came up in my head. But yeah.
And then when I first thought justice, I thought of the missing, murdered Indigenous women or missing and murdered Indigenous people. I know they're in the process of kind of changing that, but just finding justice for them. You know, a lot of stolen sisters, people gone missing, murdered, and human traffic. You know, and it's plagued the Native people for centuries. It's not something that just happened overnight. It's something that's been going forever, you know, as long as we can think about it. And that was the first thing that I thought of.
And my last question, I promise, last one. Just imagine, like, there's this person who's watching or they're listening and they're like on the fence, like they're thinking about getting help on their steps to recovery. Like, what is something that you would want to tell them?
There's always hope. You can change no matter what anyone has ever told you. People change every day, and what you are here for a reason, and just keep going, you know. Don't give up.
The first thing I thought was you're important. You're somebody.
I would say you are loved, and I would say that when you are ready, we are here.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You're
I'm
welcome.
gonna do.
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm good.
Sure.
So I'll pass it to Angie to wrap this up. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening. This episode call to action is support those in need. So as you guys have heard, like just being there for someone can make such a big difference. So reach out to someone who may be struggling with substance use, offer support, empathy, and encouragement, and let them know that seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you.